Hey guys, Marsingin here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we are continuing on with the guides for the new stages of Super Battle Road, and we are up to the second to last one now, stage 49, All Out Struggle. So this one I think is probably going to be difficult for a lot of people. Looking over the tabs I wanted to open for my picks for this video, there's not a lot of really good options, and I feel like if you have all the units that we're going to talk about, you'll be fine, but if you're missing a significant amount of them, then it is going to be potentially quite difficult. So we're going to go ahead and look at the all-out struggle category. As you can see, it's not the biggest category in the world, but we'll go through, and as always, go through my top picks and honourable mentions. As always, if there's any units that you think I missed or I should have talked more about, let me know down below in the comments. And if you do find this guide helpful at all, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let us go ahead and jump straight in. So obviously the leader of the team is the LR Blue Boys, the Blue Kaioken Goku and Blue Evolution Vegeta. They've been featured on some banners recently. They're on the Gogeta banner, which is out now. So really, you want to have a copy of them as the leader for the team, because obviously they are the catch-all leader for every all-out struggle unit. 3 key, 150% to stats is pretty decent. These guys I feel like are underrated. I use them in the Realm of Gods, Extreme Super Battle Road No Items run. Once they get a super attack off, they are actually very good defensively. If you can pick up a lot of rainbow orbs, then obviously they do a bunch of additional normal attacks, which makes it more likely to trigger an additional super. So if they double super, their defense is actually really good. They're not going to be straight up tanking super attacks, especially like type disadvantage or something, but they're able to tank normal attacks very well. So this unit is very good. They do have an active skill that you can use below 50% HP, but it does lose you a lot of your defense in exchange for a big attack buff and the full 24 key. So this could be used as an effective like finisher if they don't have to take any attacks on that turn. Like if there's literally no attacks in slot 1, you could use this in order to try and finish off the enemy in one massive series of attacks. But they are a very solid unit, definitely best to use as the leader, because there's not really a huge amount of other options of units that have good leader skills that will cover a lot of these units. So if we move on and look at some of the top picks here, obviously we have the LR, Goku and Frieza with their EZA. They're obviously a very powerful unit. They raise defense on super attack. They lower attack on both of their supers, which is very useful for Super Battle Road. And then when the enemy is attacked down, they obviously get extra attack or defense down, stunned or sealed. So a lot of good super attack effects for Super Battle Road will power up their passive, which is very good. They're not super great at tanking hits in slot 1, but their defense after their EZA is still fairly good, I guess. Their stats obviously don't really change much, being an LR, so their passive is what really bumps up their ability. Getting this extra attack in a bunch of ways was nice, but obviously that doesn't help them defensively. Their biggest defensive buff was the fact they raised defense on super attack. So we are going to talk about the first bunch of units. If you don't have the LR Blue Boys, the first lot of units we talk about are all reps of Universe 7 or Universe Survival Saga. So you could use their leader skill and then supplement the rest of the team with any tech types that you have. But obviously the Blue Boys are definitely the best choice. So next up we have the Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, my nemesis from the anniversary. He's obviously a solid unit. It's a bit of a shame that his damage reduction builds up with each attack received only for the duration of that turn and then resets, but obviously he still is a very good unit. If you can get to the 4th turn and you're below 50% HP, you can use his active skill, which is an AoE, which sounds good for Super Battle Road, but obviously by the time you get to the 4th turn, you've probably cleared out most of the enemies already, but it can be used as a nice finisher, so you don't have to take hits in slot 1. And potentially get super attacked right at the end and die. So he does have the built-in chance to crit on his supers, so 50% chance, and then if he gets an additional super, it's a guaranteed crit. So he can dish out quite a significant amount of damage. He does have a chance in his passive to launch an additional super, so even if you have him without dupes, it is possible to get 2 supers out of him. And he can definitely hold his own both defensively and offensively. He's not going to be straight up tanking like type disadvantage supers, especially if it's the first attack that he's taking in the turn, but he definitely is going to be a solid option. And again, he has a Reps of Universe 7 lead as well as Powerful Comeback. I haven't exactly checked the crossover between Powerful Comeback and All Out Struggle, but his leader skill could be useful to use as well if you don't have the LR Blue Boys. So next up we have LR Master Roshi. We talked about him a bit in the Earthlings category 1. He's very, very good. Obviously, you want to try and have Gokus on the team to fill out that Turtle School Allies part of his passive in order to be able to have his Revival, because obviously Revival is very useful. We didn't really talk about that with Vegeta, like he has a Revival skill as well, but he has to have received 7 attacks. So even if you're putting him in slot 1 in front of the majority of the attacks, that's not going to necessarily proc all that often, whereas for Roshi, you only have to have 2 or more Turtle School allies on the team. So if you've got a couple of Gokus on there, it can work out pretty well. Of course, if we look at All Out Struggle, just the solo Goku units by themselves, you know, we've got Goku with somebody else, but there's not a huge amount of them. A lot of them are these Kaioken Gokus, which are not crazy good, although they are older units, so people are more likely to have them. But Roshi is pretty good. He's got good utility with his super attacks as well. He has a 70% chance to stun on his 12 key, so sometimes it can be worth deliberately going for that to get the stun. Or his 18 key does massive damage and also seals, so very good. He does also have a built-in chance to dodge, and he supports Turtle School category allies as well. So this unit is just really good and does a lot of great stuff. Getting his active skill is probably very unlikely in Super Battle Road as well, though, unfortunately. So next up we have the meme himself, Blue Kaioken Goku. He has a Reps of Universe 7 or Universe Survival Saga lead as well, so he can be a reasonable stand-in. And obviously any of these units, they still allow you to bring like an LR Blue Boy's friend if you want to do it that way. Now, yeah, obviously we all know the memes about this guy being really bad defensively, especially taking hits like in turn 1 without items active. But as people have shown on video, if you can get the right setup and use the right items, like you can use the strategy of letting your team take a bit of a beating and then popping some defensive items, using the Spirit Bomb to blitz through the stage, and then moving on into the next fight already below the HP restriction to then just use the Spirit Bomb straight away in turn 1. Obviously you need to keep yourself protected with items, but in category Super Battle Road there's only 3 fights instead of 4, so you can space out using items like Whis, Yema and Ghost Usher to control that first turn, and then yeah, literally the second and third fight you can just go straight in, use the Spirit Bomb and just like blitz everybody on the first turn, which is a viable strategy. It's just a little bit difficult to set up sometimes and requires some RNG, and obviously without item protection, especially in turn 1, this guy will just get absolutely bodied. So you do have to be careful if you are trying out that technique, but it does work. So he's not, you know, the worst unit in the world. He gets a lot of hate, but there is definitely a legitimate strategy you can use for him for Super Battle Road, which can be very effective. So for our first non-Reps of Universe 7 or Universe Survival Saga character, we have the physical LR Bardock. Obviously, post Easy A, he got a massive improvement. Raising defense on both of his supers and a lot of extra stats makes him pretty good defensively. When you're facing multiple enemies, he's also getting a bunch of extra defense, which is really good. And then when there's only one enemy, you do get some extra attack, and you get extra key, sorry, when facing one enemy. So getting his 18 key super is a lot easier. I like the fact that his 18 key super is the one that seals. So he's not one of these LRs where if you really want to seal the enemy, you have to deliberately go for their 12 key. You can just go all out for the 18 key. And so he's able to do quite a lot of damage whilst also sealing up the enemy, which is very, very useful. We don't fight a Frieza on this stage, so you don't get the guaranteed crit and the big attack boost for one turn, but he's a very solid unit. He has pretty standard across the board Saiyan links. He'll link up fairly well with the Vegeta, but he's a solid option for sure. Next up we have the Tech TN. Now I included him on here because if you are running, for example, the LR Goku and Frieza, and especially if you're running them as a leader, he fits under the tech type parts of their leader skill. He's the 50% support unit for Super Tech, so he's always been a unit that's been good to have around to buff the LR Goku and Frieza. He greatly lowers attack on Super, which is really, really useful for Super Battle Road, and of course activates the full LR Goku and Frieza passive. He does also change orbs, and he is a nuker, so it can kind of go both ways. If you get a bad luck turn where you don't get many orbs with him, then obviously his defense is not very good, or you can pick up a pretty large amount and his defense will be reasonable, and especially if they are all tech orbs, you're going to be able to get a decent heal out of that as well. So he's a worthwhile unit to bring, but if you're not really bringing any other tech units, then maybe not so much, but he's very good for supporting the Goku and Frieza. Next up, we have the AGL Blue Evolution Goku. Well, he's the just normal Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, and then he transforms into Blue Evolution Vegeta. He's not a top tier pick. I don't think he's aged quite badly, especially defensively. But the only reason I mention him as an honorable mention is, of course, the fact that he is another representative of Universe 7 unit. If you're trying to build the team that way, he probably will be one of the weaker units on the team, and you definitely want to make sure you have him protected with items if you have to take hits. But he can be a viable option just to use to fill out that team if you want to run the Reps of Universe 7 build. So he can be worth considering. He's just not going to do crazy amounts of damage, and he's a little bit of a risk defensively, but you can make him work. Next up, we have the slew of LR Gohans. So we have AGL LR Gohan, Tech Super Saiyan 2 LR Gohan, and the Int Super Saiyan 2 LR Gohan. Obviously, post EZA, this guy's now very, very good defensively, so he can be a solid option for the team. Post Super, especially if you've picked up a decent amount of orbs, like his defense is definitely going to be very good. He gets extra ki with each ki sphere, so getting his 18 ki super is not particularly difficult. And then, of course, both his supers, he does raise defense. So if you get double supers, that's double defense raise. Going to be very good. This Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, he's pretty solid. He can get additional supers built in from his passive. Each one of his super attacks raises defense. You're not going to get his full potential because I don't think there's any movie heroes Gokus on this team. Although, actually, I think the only one, there's like this STR Kaioken Goku. Is he on Movie Heroes because he's from the Lord Slug thing? But, yeah, you're probably not going to get this guy's full potential. But, even without his full potential, he's still pretty good with the multiple supers, raising defense. He gets extra ki per orb as well, so it's easier to get his 18 ki super. He's just a very solid unit overall. Like, I have him Rainbow level 10 links, so using him on a team, even without a Movie Heroes Goku, he's still pretty good. And then this Gohan, he's probably the worst out of the three just for Super Battle Road, because obviously he's more designed for longer form events where you can stack his defense for longer, but he definitely is still a solid unit with a decent link set, especially because this team can be built very Saiyan or Hybrid Saiyan heavy, so that is a helpful unit to have in terms of linking up with everybody. And post super attack, his defense is okay. He's just not going to be one of those units that, like, after one super, he's just going to be tanking hits left, right, and center without an item active. So you definitely need to be aware of that. So looking back at the list for All Out Struggle, Angel Vegeta is pretty decent, but there's no Majin Buu Saga Goku to have with him, so he's not exactly the best. Majin Vegeta doesn't have his EZA on Global yet. Pretty much all of these other TURs are not very good. I mean, this Vegeta's okay defensively after his EZA, but he's nothing too crazy. This Roshi is like a one-shot guy, just does big damage, guaranteed crit, but then he's kind of useless after that, and his defense is basically non-existent. The Tech Majin Vegeta post-EZA is not terrible. I used him on the Extreme Tech ESBR no item run. He can be okay, but his defense is not great. His strength lies in the fact that he does an AoE super that can stun, so if you get good RNG, I mean, he could literally win you a run if you get good RNG, so he could be worth considering. And then both the future Gohans, both of them are units that build up defensively, so for Super Battle Road, they're not particularly good like turn 1. This is definitely a category where if you're missing some of the big hitters, especially the LRs, I mean, you look at how many units are on the category, LRs is almost, it's like, what, half as many TURs, like, almost. So if you're missing like the big hitting LRs, this category is definitely kind of weak, and you're going to have to be very careful of how you build your team. So there you go. If there's any units that you think I should have talked about that I didn't, let me know. Or if you think I missed out on a key aspect of a unit that I did talk about, let me know that down below as well. And let me know what your team build is going to be, because I'm interested to know how you guys are going to be running this all-out struggle stage. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.